Sexy, welcome back to the channel and a brand new episode of Gay and Over 40, the vlog. I'm gonna take you through a typical day in the life and we're gonna compare the 20s versus now that I'm in my 40s. Before I start, merchandise in the store. Check it out. Okay, so let's start at the beginning of the day, which obviously is the morning time. Now, when I was in my 20s, and tell me, please, let me know in the comments if you guys can relate to what I'm saying. In my 20s, I could sleep anywhere and basically at any time. I slept hard and long, continuous throughout the night. When I would wake up, I would start the day like this. My eyes would just pop open and I would say, "Good morning, good morning." That's how I greeted each day, singing like some weird Disney protagonist. Good morning, good morning. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Probably still high from the night before. Now, in my 40s, I prefer familiar surroundings. Like, literally, I prefer my own bed. Just want my things. I want my pillow, I want my comforter, I know how I like things. Other thing that's super important now that I'm in my 40s is my sleep mask. Like, I sleep with a sleep mask. It's my way of shutting out the world, it's my way of blacking everything out. That and earplugs. And then I take a while to stretch and focus. Then I slowly take the earplugs out of my ears and adjust to like consciousness. It's a whole saga. It's like a 3-act opera in the morning just to wake up. Somehow I sort of stretch and lurch my way out of bed. My feet hit the ground and I head for the toilet. From the bedroom, obviously, I head immediately into the kitchen because I have one thing on my mind, and that is coffee. In my 20s, coffee was more of an accessory. It was more like, I'm a grown-up, I drink coffee. Now, in my 40s, the purpose of a coffee now isn't to feel grown-up or to experiment or to feel fancy. It's to wake up. I literally head to my Nespresso machine and it's just like I'm on automatic pilot. I'm pushing buttons, putting capsules, cup, sugar, milk, frothing, like it's automatic until I start drinking my coffee, a little bit of a haze, until I start sipping that morning coffee. Of course, I can't talk about my morning routine completely without talking about this guy right here. He's never further than like 5 feet away from me if I'm home. Obviously, he's an integral part of my morning routine, which is also a difference from my 20s and my 40s. In my 20s, I did adopt a dog. My ex, we got a dog. We're young and foolish and selfish. So he lived with us for probably a few weeks and then we couldn't take it anymore. So we gave him to my ex's mom who lived out kind of in the country and she had lots of land and stuff. So I didn't feel too guilty. Like, he probably enjoyed his life better in the country than in the city. That's what I told myself. But there it is, not responsible enough to care for another living thing. Now, in my 40s, I cannot imagine. I am so attached to him. He is my priority. He is my baby. He is my ultimate responsibility. Like, I cannot imagine not caring or having this guy in my life. So when I wake up in the morning, he's an integral part of my routine. I feed him and I take him out for his pee. Doesn't matter the weather, torrential rain, snowstorms, whatever, crazy weather, it doesn't matter. I do it and I do it gladly. That's the difference. He's family. Speaking of family, I have a family of patrons that support my work and you can too by heading over to patrickmarano.com. Love your daddy? You too? MALU. Hi, sweetheart. Yes, I love you too. You know your daddy's recording right now, right? You don't care. So after I come in from walking this guy, then I start my day. Now, this is a part of me that has never changed. From my 20s to my 40s, I have been pretty consistent with this. I work on my projects. I've never been a 9-to-5 person. I've never been a corporate person. I've never been a cubicle person. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always thought outside the box. I've always preferred working for myself versus working for other people. Whatever channels I find to funnel my creativity, right now it's through YouTube, and for you guys, which I appreciate you being here, thank you so much. Now, eventually during the day, we come to lunchtime, which in my 20s, food was just there. I didn't care. I certainly didn't have any standards. I didn't count calories. I just really didn't give it a lot of thought. But now that I'm in my 40s and I see my body reacts differently to food, I'm a little more conscious about my choices. Namely, meat. I've started eating less meat. So anytime I can make the choice to eat less meat, then for sure I will choose that. And they're super filling. And I feel better after eating it. So there's no reason not to make these better choices. Now that I'm in my 40s, I do. Now, part of my daily routine, hopefully if I have the time to do it, is going to the gym. It's not daily. I would say I go to the gym maybe 3 or 4 times a week. In my 20s, going to the gym was a much larger part of my day. This was all about the numbers. So it was about how much weight / muscle have I gained? You know, how much am I lifting? Like, what are these numbers? What do they look like? And are they getting bigger? Also, looking in the mirror. Are my muscles getting bigger? What do I look like? That's all that mattered. But now, in my 40s, the way that I go to the gym has changed a lot. I don't look in the mirror. Well, of course everybody looks in the mirror, but that's not the reason why I go to the gym. I go to the gym not to look good per se, I go to feel good. So when I leave the gym, I'm like, how do you feel? Of course I'll look in the mirror, and a byproduct of going to the gym is also looking good, but it's not about losing weight or gaining weight or how much I'm bench pressing. I do a lot more stretching, I do a lot more swimming, I do a lot more cardio, and just all of those combined make me feel good / also look good and keep me fit and healthy. I really fit in time also for relaxation. In my 20s, why would you relax? It didn't even cross my mind to relax. Like, literally, I would tell people I'll rest when I'm dead. But now that I'm in my 40s, I take the time for self-care. I love taking a bath. I run that bath. I light my candles. I listen to my favorite horror podcast. Is that relaxing? Even if I know that there's other things I should be doing, or I feel like, oh my gosh, I need to be more productive, I stop myself and say, no, actually, Patrick, you need to take time for yourself right now and just bring it down and relax. Because when I find for myself, and you tell me if you feel you're the same way, when I stop and I relax and I take the time to refocus and I take the time for myself, I'm more productive after. And then of course we have dinner time. So in my 20s, I didn't care about dinner. I mean, it's pretty clear I didn't care about much except going out and having fun. Now, in my 40s, just like lunch, I make more informed choices. My standards have raised a little bit. I like doing things like making my own pasta because I like the process of making my own food because I get to see what goes in it. And I just enjoy making food, especially when I have somebody to make food for. And then we reach the end of the day. And the end of the day for me now versus then is very different. Very different. Probably the most different of all the categories is bedtime. I alluded to this at the beginning when we talked about nighttime and sleeping. Okay, let's start with bedtime then. Bedtime then was whenever my body gave out. When the party was over and when I got home, there was no bedtime. There was just the time that my body would give out and I would pass out. It was very erratic. It could last anywhere from a couple of hours to whenever my Ambien wore off. Or if I was sober, it could last like 12 hours because my body was like catching up on sleep. Now, in my 40s, I am so routine about my sleep. I get up at the same time, I go to bed at the same time. The only time this isn't true is if I'm meeting friends or I'm out, I'm at a party, I'm at a bar. But I find even when I do those things, I wake up at the same time in the morning. Very routine, very predictable, and I like it that way. Honestly, being over 40 is way better than being in my 20s. If you ask me, Patrick, would you go back to your 20s? Of course I would, but only knowing what I know now. Without that knowledge, abso-fucking-lutely not. Being in your 40s, you have better perspective. It's literally the beginning of the rest of your life. Treat yourself with respect and love and never feel less than anything, because bitch, you've been through it and you're still here. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you are gonna love my Gay and Over 40 playlist right here. And I will see you in the next video. Mwah!